Hi, my name is Max Randall. I am the lead developer of Intonalogy, which is a unique new cross-platform ear training app designed to help musicians of all kinds detect problems in their intonation by giving them the opportunity to adjust and tune individual pitches in chords, scales, and melodies. And we wanted to make this demonstration to show you all of the features of the app as concisely as possible, and hope that it will inspire you to try it for yourself. So we will cover the chords, scales, and melodies modes, the difficulty presets and other settings, then the difference between normal mode and expert mode, the hardest difficulty, and demonstrating that, just intonation, which is an important feature of the app, timed mode and challenge mode, high scores, the other settings, achievements, and the about page. So without further ado, let's get started. So we'll jump straight into a chord in training mode. So training mode is a free play mode, which gives you an unlimited number of exercises and tracks your average error. So we'll see what chord we get. So we got a minor chord. So this interface is unique, but it's fairly self-explanatory. So each pitch here is given a slider. The one on the right, the E flat, has a blue line on it, which signifies that it can move. So you can tap the top or bottom halves of the slider, tap it to move 1 cent, or hold to move continuously. So this will tune the pitch, and the number here is the number of cents. 1 cent is 1/100th of a half step or semitone. So this is how we measure the error and the distance between pitches. So here we will attempt to tune this chord. So I think that E flat was slightly flat, so I tuned it sharp. And you can use the speaker buttons down below also to play. These will louden each pitch as long as you're holding them, which can be helpful in isolating a certain pitch. So we'll submit this, and I was 4 cents off. So then you can see the slider has changed slightly. There's now a green line signifying the correct number of cents. The blue line is still your number, and the red area in the middle is the error. And you can see the 4 cents of error is described at the bottom. And there are also 3 buttons colored the same way as the lines, which are you can toggle between to hear the difference between the pitches. So we'll play the given pitch and toggling between what I had and toggling to the correct pitch. And you can hear that may be subtle, but that is the difference between these pitches. So we'll try another one. This time we got a major chord. So and is the middle pitch the fifth that we can tune. And that time I was 9 cents off, as you can see. So now we'll look at scales. We have a harmonic minor scale here, and the G is the one that is incorrect. So we'll play the entire scale by pressing the play button, and we can try to hear in what way the G was wrong. So it sounded almost correct to me. You can play, then you can use the individual play buttons underneath the sliders to play one pitch at a time. And you can also double tap these buttons, crucially, to hold a pitch down while another pitch is playing. So I'm going to, in this case, hold down the D and then play the G. And tune that based on that. So that's the strategy for the melodies and scales modes. And I was 4 cents off in that case. So next we're going to look at a melody. In the default settings of difficulty, this is only 4 notes and is usually fairly boring. So let's see what we get. So in this case, the second C was incorrect. So one trick you can do with Melodies mode, in this case, you have the C, which you know is correct, and then this other C is wrong. You can play both of them simultaneously and tune the unison like this. And when it really sounds like it's locking in, that means you've gotten the right value. And sure enough, that is exactly correct. So next we're going to look at the difficulty settings. At the top, there are 3 presets, normal, advanced, and expert, and you can further customize the difficulty from these below, but these are just shortcuts. So we're currently in normal mode. You can see advanced mode, some more things are enabled, and expert, basically everything's enabled. So we'll go through these quickly. The number of maximum errors per exercise, in normal mode, you can only have 1. In advanced and expert, you can have 3, which is a significant jump. It's actually, between 1 and 3. You can be given at random. Then the maximum error per pitch, that's how far from the center it can be. So in normal, it's 30 cents, in advanced is 40, and in expert, it is 50. User can change. So in expert mode, this is the major difference in difficulty. If you go into expert mode, you can change all pitches, even ones that are already correct. So for scales and melodies, this can make it, as you can imagine, quite a lot trickier. Then there's chord inversions, which is in normal mode is only the root, and advanced you can also have first inversion, expert you can have all. And then the reference pitch, there's always one pitch in a chord that is cannot be changed, and is what all the other notes are tuned to. So in normal mode it can only be the root. Advanced, it could also be the bass note of the chord. In expert mode it could be anything, including the fifth, which could be tricky to tune to that. We decided to not include the seventh as an option because that would be evil, and it's not really the way things work in real life. When you're tuning, you're unlikely to tune to a seventh, even if it is the bass note. Then doubling. In normal mode, triads will never have a doubled note, but in the other modes, they can potentially have one of the notes be doubled and be a 4-note chord, which adds the layer of complexity. Then here's the list of available chords and intervals. You can have any combination of intervals available. We didn't see that yet, but you can have intervals in the chords mode. And here in normal mode, these are the ones that are enabled. In advanced, what we saw, and then in expert, everything is enabled. So next, for the scales and melodies difficulty options, the number of pitches per melody, as we saw, normal mode has 4, advanced has 6, and expert has 8. And then the maximum melodic interval is the step size, the biggest leap you can have within the melody, which can go up to an octave. Then the pitch range, you can choose whether you want the melody to be able to go below the root or not. If you do, that makes it harder because it's harder to tune with reference to the root if a pitch is below it. But that is, of course, a very common thing that could happen. Then for available scales and modes, you can see these are the ones that are available in advanced mode. Some of the other ones, which you could find in expert mode, are perhaps unfamiliar. They're just modes of the harmonic and melodic minor scales, the same way that the familiar church modes are the modes of the major scale. And in an expert mode, you can have any combination of these. Then there are shortcut buttons here. So you can select, for instance, all of the modes of the melodic minor scale. And then if they're all selected, you can click it again and remove all of them. So that is a way to quickly change the settings there. So now we're going to go into we're going to click the expert preset and see what that looks like in each of the modes quickly. So we'll save that and get a chord. Ooh, this is funny. It's just an interval, but it is a very weird one with a double flat. Ooh, that was even smaller than I thought. And now what's going to happen is, because I was so far off, it's going to give me the same interval again. That was better. I think that, yes, that fulfilled the criteria to move on from that interval. So now we have a chord, a 3-note chord with 2 pitches. They could both be wrong or only one of them. We'll find out what it is. Yeah, it was very clearly both of them. And yes, that is what it was. Give me another one of these. Major second. So that is an example of some things you could get in expert mode for chords. For scales, this is the Ionian augmented scale, which is very interesting. So that A sharp was clearly wrong. Let me play that again. I think the C sharp was also wrong. So we're going to tune this to the F sharp. And actually, we're going to tune the C sharp to the F sharp as well. No, I think the C sharp was right. I think that was the only one that was wrong, but I could be wrong here. Ooh. Lucky guess. It's always pays off to check the octaves because those are easy to tell whether they're wrong or not. Ooh, wow. The B was also wrong. I should have played the whole scale again. So yeah, and this is, you never know which ones are wrong or not, or how many there are in expert mode. And then finally, we're going to generate a melody and see what we get. Ooh, this has some big leaps in it, and it's in a weird mode. So let's see if we can figure out which ones are wrong. So the C sharp was wrong, and then the E was also wrong for sure. So let's see if we can tune that. And yet again, there was one that I missed entirely, that G there. So that's what the melodies look like in expert mode. So now we're going to look at just intonation, which is a key feature of the app and what it was originally designed for. It has advantages and disadvantages for enabling this mode, as we will see. So we'll just go in here, enable just intonation. We're also going to make sure that we can only get, see, I can't disable all of them. We can only get dominant sevenths because that's the most striking example of just intonation. So we're going to save that and go into chords mode. So let's see if we can tune this. Okay, it's closed. It's definitely not quite locked in, but we'll hear the difference here. Oh yeah, I was getting there, but we don't have all the time in the world. So this is what was given. This is what I got. And that's correct. You can sort of hear that like buzzing and being totally locked in. So that is how just intonation sounds. Next, we're going to look at challenge mode. So we're going to change this. Oh no, yeah, we're already in timed mode. So you can have timed challenges and untimed challenges. In this case, we're going to do a timed one. And in any challenge, you get 10 exercises. Then each one you have less time to complete it, and then at the end you get a high score based on your average error. So we're going to do a normal chords challenge and see how we do. I'll quickly go through all 10. All right, so that's all 10. So at the end of the challenge, you will get a high score or a score based on the amount of your average error. So 1,000 is a perfect score. Then an amount is subtracted from it that is proportional to your average error. It depends on the difficulty, how that is actually calculated. In this case, we got a score of 880, and it is my new high score for this mode with a total error of only 18 cents across the entire mode. We will go into the high score page and check that out. So we can click on the timed tab, and you can see that 880 in the normal chords category for just intonation. And there's also leaderboards. These look different on iOS and Android, of course, but it's integrated with Game Center here and Google Play Games on Android. And you can go down here. There's a lot of categories because there's a lot of different parameters for types of high scores, as you just saw. But you can look at this and see that I am number 1 of 1 with 880 points in that mode. So now we're going to look at the rest of the settings, which are general setup. So you can change the concert pitch to between different or a different range of historical pitches from 415 to 466. You can also change the speed of the pitch slider when you hold down the arrows on the slider. Now we're going to look at the different sample sounds. So we were using the winds, which is the most balanced sample sound and is the default. We'll look at strings, which is a little mellower. It doesn't sound very mellow because it was so high, but it is mellower. Then the brass is a much brighter sound. So those are the different sample sounds. Then we have the pitch range. You can set it to be an octave lower if you want. You can re-enable the tutorials, which show up when you start exercising each mode. Then for chords, by default, there's only open position chords because they're easier to hear, but you can enable closed position if you really want to. Then you can change the volume of each degree in a chord. The root is by default the loudest. Next, you can always louden the bass pitch that's on by default, and that will make the bass pitch also 100%, regardless of what degree it is. Now, loudening the tuning pitch is actually enabled by default. I tend to have it off, but it is useful, especially for beginners, because it helps you isolate certain pitches. So I'm going to turn that on and demonstrate that here. So it's the same effect as the speaker button, but just enables automatically while the pitch is moving, while the slider is moving. And chords playing automatically, if you turn that off, you have to press play at the start of the exercise. It's just a preference thing. There are 2 stereo modes. By default, we have the pianist mode where the pitches are arranged left to right in your ears. The conductor mode is one in which the pitches are sort of staggered like they would be in an orchestra, and you can also turn it off if you would like. There is the use random sounds is just for fun, but in chords, each pitch is going to be a different voice at random, a different sample, and that definitely makes it harder, but it could be more similar to an orchestra with different timbres and different sections. Sliding between given, yours, and correct. This was a later innovation of the app. If you turn it off, then when you toggle between those 3, it will snap suddenly between the pitches, which could be easier to hear in some cases and may be desired. Finally, the scale and melody settings, you can change the playback speed per pitch when you play the entire scale or melody. And then there's a tonic drone. If you turn that on when you play the entire sequence of pitches, then there will be a drone on the root, so you can hear everything in relation to the root. And that is all the settings that are available. So there are also 6 achievements for completing numbers of challenges and for getting certain scores. If you get a perfect score in any expert challenge in timed mode, that's the best achievement in the game, and is very, very difficult to accomplish. Finally, there is an about page which describes our methodology for just intonation and all the ratios we used and why for some of the weird ones. and you can peruse that if you download the app for yourself. There's also a free version, Intonology Lite on the App Store, Intonology Free on Google Play, which has most of these features locked, but you can play training mode and you can try just intonation, and all the other settings are locked, but that can be something you can try to try out the app for yourself before you buy. So that is all the features of Intonology. You can go on the website for more information, intonology.com. You can have links to getting the free version and also purchasing the full version for $4.99 on either app store. And I hope this has been a helpful demonstration and that it inspires you to give it a try for yourself. Thank you for watching.